As independent contractors, it's important to ensure we are tracking our miles and time spent working and driving to ensure we have the best possible tax deductions come tax season. Because not tracking your miles is basically a death sentence for gig drivers, two apps have soared in popularity: Solo and Gridwise. In today's video, I'll be taking an unbiased look at both of these apps, trying out their special features alongside their mileage tracking, and helping you answer the question, which one of these apps is worth it for you in 2024? Hey everybody, it's Kian with the RideShare Guy, pronounced Kian, and before this video starts, we'd like to make a quick disclaimer. The RideShare Guy brand are big fans and active users of Solo, so much so that Harry, aka the actual RideShare Guy, is personally an advisor and investor in the company. However, this video is not sponsored by Solo or Gridwise. Neither brand have any say in the critiques and opinions voiced in this video, and the only bias in this video will be that I personally have used Gridwise more than I have used Solo, and up until the production of this video, my experience with actually using Solo was quite limited. With that out of the way, I'm going to be grading these apps on the following 5 categories: mileage tracking, deductions tracking, free features, pay-to-use features, and what I'm going to call portability and ease of use for newbies. The first category is mileage tracking, because that's what a lot of people are downloading these apps for. Everything else doesn't really matter if you can't properly and accurately measure the amount of miles and time you're going to be driving and tracking for tax season and for deductions. So let's start with Gridwise. Gridwise has a simple, clean layout with a single track miles button right at the top. Can't miss it. It lays out daily, weekly, and yearly stats for miles, earnings, dollars per mile, dollars per hour, etc. It's pretty simple up front, but once you click on the button for more information, it really gives you, I would say, about everything you need to know. And up until recently, Gridwise allowed you to auto-sync your earnings data from basically every single gig app you can name. I mean, seriously, look at the list that Gridwise allows you to connect to automatically sync the earnings from these apps. And why I say allowed in past tense is because Gridwise recently announced that this was actually going to be paywalled starting April 18th. But you can still enter your earnings manually, so these apps will still be connected. You just have to enter the earnings manually instead of it doing it for you. And whilst this is very annoying that Gridwise is doing this at all, to be honest, like I said, this is a category for mileage tracking, so we're starting off slow here, so I'll give it a pass. With Solo, it's slightly more complicated with the layout when you first download the app. In fact, I wouldn't blame you if you said it was a little bit overwhelming at first with how many things are being offered to you and how many tabs you have to deal with. However, you simply just go to the Trips tab to enable manual tracking, and then you click Start Tracking from there, and you're on your merry way. It also allows daily, weekly, and yearly stats, and from everything I can tell, it's basically the same layout as Gridwise with just a little bit of a different format. And whilst Solo also has the ability to allow you to auto-sync your earnings data and even allows automatic trips tracking, which I gotta admit is pretty cool, this also is locked behind a paywall. You're starting to sense a theme here? But like I said, in terms of just baseline manual tracking, both of these options are viable. One of them is a little more simplex in Gridwise, where it's kind of more plug and play and you're kind of on the road, whereas Solo is a little bit more difficult to navigate in the beginning, but once you get around it, it actually lays out things pretty well. Let's talk about deductions tracking for a second. And when I say deductions tracking, I'm meaning tracking the deductions that you're going to have or the estimates that these apps are giving you on your taxes. Gridwise lists your total miles, your total deduction rate, total estimated yearly deduction, clear as day. It's really, really easy to find and see. It also allows you to export your reports of weekly, monthly, and yearly deductions to better assist your time filing your taxes. However, I should mention that you can only export this data in PDF format. We'll get to the CSV option a little bit later. And this is one of those areas where admittedly I am going to have a bit of bias here because I actually did use Gridwise when it comes to around tax time. It actually assisted me quite greatly during filing this year's taxes. But like I said, bias take here. I obviously can't share both sides of the coin here because like I said, I've used Gridwise more than I've used Solo. And Gridwise also has a promotion with this app Keeper for your tax filing duties if you want to file directly through Gridwise or going through Gridwise and Keeper. However, you do get a discount. It's a 30% discount, so it's not the best in the world, but it's not like it's completely free. Solo's take is almost identical in terms of the actual information it's going to give you. It's a little bit more direct with each trip giving you an estimated tax deduction directly there. And whilst Gridwise sorta has the same thing, it's a little bit harder to actually detail and find, whereas Solo kind of just throws it in your face with each trip and with each set of trips that you do depending on the gig app that you work with. I have no idea if their data is exportable at all for PDF, CSV, anything like that, so I can't really measure it on that. But what I will say is that Gridwise actually has a built-in tax system in the app with another built-in tax system app called Column. However, I should mention this is also paywalled, and you have to pay $50 to file with this as well. So again, not entirely foolproof. So overall, like I said, I have a bit of a biased take when it comes to using Gridwise here, but I actually imagine the Solo form of filing your taxes, if you want to do it directly through the app and having all of your data directly through the app, if you've been using Solo for a long time, will probably make tax season a little bit easier to navigate. I just can't say from experience on Solo's side, so take that with a grain of salt. But if you've actually used Solo for your tax needs and forms and you've used the built-in system with Column, comment that down below. Let me know and let everybody here at the RideShare Guy know how you thought of your experience with it. Let's talk about free features. This one's obviously pretty self-explanatory. It's whatever features Gridwise and Solo are actually giving to you in order to help your experience when it comes to being a gig driver in whatever form of driving you're doing, whether it be for Uber, Doordash, Lyft, whatever it is. Gridwise has quite a few tricks up their sleeve when it comes to all of the information they're actually giving you and all of the free features that they're actually giving you. So they have statistical trends, which is like an entire page of trends in your area, in your network, in your city that seem to be pretty detailed and seem to be pretty accurate. I haven't used it too much, so don't put this one directly on me. They have top areas to drive and when to drive. They have weather tracking, event tracking, and they'll also notify you if the weather is about to get really bad. In fact, I think I just got a notification like 15 minutes ago that it was going to rain. So if you hear the rain out there, that means Gridwise was at least somewhat right. And surprisingly, Gridwise actually has stats for airport tracking so that you know when the demand is going to pick up at your nearest airport. However, the free feature for this is kind of limited, so you only get like a few hours of leeway time or a few hours ahead, whereas if you're using something like Uber or Lyft, they'll generally just tell you when things are about to pick up or slow down. And all of this isn't even mentioning the dozens upon dozens upon dozens of offers that are connected with Gridwise with discounts for you to use personally. As for Solo, Solo also has a ton of offers that are connected with Solo that I imagine also have discounts. I know some of them definitely do, but I'm not sure about some others because it was kind of not specific enough. But they have that page where you can check out the offers, and obviously you also have the baseline manual tracking for the app itself. And that's it. At the very least, that's all I could find when it comes to the free features that Solo gives you. So if you are looking for an app that also has a bunch of additional features here, there's a clear winner in this category. So I've been building up to it for quite a bit of time in this video because I've been talking about free features and I've been talking about things being put behind paywalls. So let's actually talk about these said paywalls and premium features. And we'll start with Gridwise here. So Gridwise has only one tier. It's Gridwise Plus, which they've actually discounted as of recently because of one of the downgrades they made to their automatic base tracking. So I think it was like $10 a month initially, and now it's only $7 a month. And you can also get an annual plan discounted at just $60 a year, and both of those prices seem pretty fair and nice. Again, if you're gonna be a gig driver, if you're gonna be driving full-time, part-time, this is something you genuinely wanna look into investing. Gridwise Plus gives you a lot of upgrades to the free features, so it gives you 24-hour flight info, it doesn't give you any ads, it gives you the tax exports in CSV format if that's really important to you. It gives you rental options, both for you to rent if you need a car and to be rented if you want to rent out your own car to other people, kind of like using Turo. And also it will auto sync your earnings once this feature goes away on April 18th. It hasn't gone away at the time of me recording this video, but it will probably by the time this is uploaded. So if you missed out on that, you're going to have to unfortunately upgrade to Gridwise Plus for it. And another feature I wanted to mention was Gridwise gas, because this used to be amazing. It was like 50 cents off per gallon or dollar it was. Obviously, I drive an electric car now, so this isn't something that applies to me anymore, but it did like a little over a year ago when I was driving just my Toyota Prius and I was filling up gas for it, and gas was really expensive at the time, so taking 50 cents off or around 50 cents off every time I filled up the tank was huge for me. But they downgraded this so hard. It went from 50 cents a gallon to like 3 cents a gallon. So it's like no longer worth it anymore. But Gridwise, if you're watching this video and you want to win over a lot of people, I would recommend bringing that back. Okay, so Solo is where they really begin to show you where the upgrades in this app matter. So they have multiple tiers of Solo for their premium features. They have the basic tier, which is $10 per month. They have the Pro tier, which is $15 per month. And they have the Pro Plus tier, which is $20 per month. And there are also annual and quarterly plans for each of these tiers. And a lot of the premium features for Solo include the full tax filing suite, the auto trip tracking, meaning that anytime you're on a ride or a trip or anything like that, they will automatically track it for you and track your earnings alongside it. You can link all of your gig apps, which is, I don't know why at all that is something that is paywalled. You should just be able to link your gig apps for free, like you're able to with Gridwise. Even if you can't automatically update your earnings anymore, you should still be able to at least link the app so you know what you did for this time. It makes no sense, so come on. But the one big upgrade that you will get if you go on any of these premium tiers, or I think Pro or Pro Plus premium tiers, is the hourly minimum guarantee offers that Solo has. Now, I don't believe this is available in every single market, but if it's available in your market, you can literally just go to the minimum guarantee offers tab and just select specific hours to see what rates they will give you. And how it works is if you are driving for Uber during this hour that you reserved on the Solo app and you make under what it guarantees it says you will make, Solo will cover the difference guaranteed. That is spectacular. So let's say, for example, you're an Uber driver like myself and you select an hour that's a $20 hour. It says that Solo guarantees you'll make at least $20 for this hour. And you take 2 $5 rides at the beginning of the hour and you get nothing else. Something that has happened to me before, so don't say it's never happened. Solo will cover the difference. They'll give you the extra $10 for the hour or whatever the difference is there, which I think is an amazing feature if you can use it correctly and if it works for you and your market, and of course, if Solo offers you enough for that guaranteed hour of time. Solo also has city and worldwide leaderboards with other drivers, so any of the drivers around you, around your city, or just around the world, you can actually track your earnings, miles, and estimates and everything with, which I think is just like a really cool community building feature, so I gotta give Solo props for that. Overall, Solo really shows where the strengths of the app is in a lot of their premium features. I wish a lot of these features weren't behind a paywall because it would be cool for people to just be able to use these things. But I will say, if you're going to upgrade and you are going to be a full-time gig driver or even a part-time gig driver, I think it makes sense if you really want to try out things like the minimum guarantee. I think that it's worth it for people to at least try it out once or twice. And if you guys would like to see me make a video talking about the minimum guarantee and actually testing it out in its own video, make sure to leave a like on this video and make sure you are subscribed to the RideShare Guy for more content and, of course, more content from me. So let's talk about my final category, which is what I called portability, or just like the ease of use when it comes to using the app for what you need to use it for. And obviously this will depend on your needs for the app, and we'll talk about all of the features that both of these apps have. But what's most important is when you open up the app, how easy is it for you to click a button and get started? For Gridwise, it's brutally easy to set up and start running. It's literally just one click and you're tracking. Everything is laid out in a very simple manner. The detailed stats, if you actually need them, are where you need them and where you'd expect them to actually be in the app. The only area where this loses points is for that recent auto tracking your earnings getting paywalled, so you have to do that part manually. But it's still not really that hard to do manually if you're just keeping up with whatever gig apps you're using. Especially if you're a person that only uses like one gig app at a time. So if you're like only an Uber driver or you only do Doordash or something like that, that's literally just as simple as typing in the earnings on the Gridwise app when you're done for the day. For Solo, manual tracking is also easy and the stats are just as good and just as clear, if not better, and especially with that tax deduction feature being literally right there, bright green, and each of these rides being separate from each other. It's really easy for you to lay out and figure out where you were in each of these rides. However, where this loses points is that everything else is just locked behind a paywall. So if you don't want to pay for Solo for any of the premium features, you will really struggle using this regularly. And when it comes to ease of use, I mean, it is easy to use, but it's not as easy to set up when it comes to Solo versus Gridwise, at least in my personal opinion. I had a few more kinks when it comes to setting up my account, but this could be a personal experience here for me, so I wouldn't put too much weight into that. So overall, both of these apps are completely portable and also both easy to use. However, if you don't ever have any of the paid versions of Solo, Gridwise is definitely the easier option. So overall, between Gridwise and Solo, both of these options are completely viable depending on your use case, and the quote-unquote winner between the two of them is not as straightforward as any form of like a score or any of these topics may make it look, because it really depends on your use case as to which one of these options is going to make the most of your money or lack thereof. So if you're looking for a mileage tracker and nothing more, with a basic outline to help fill in the earnings and deductions, Gridwise would be a better recommendation for you. If you're looking for a very detailed and feature-rich gig app that also tracks your miles and your expenses, Solo is definitely the app for you. And which app you choose really comes down to the features you need that these apps offer. Me personally, I'm going to continue experimenting with Solo in my market to test out the minimum guarantees. And whilst I might go back to using Gridwise as my main option for the long term, I'm very interested to see if the Pro Plus feature is going to be worth it for somebody like me who is driving for my full-time income with Uber every single day, or at least a majority of the days of the week. But of course, your mileage will vary. But we want to hear it from you guys. Are you guys avid Gridwise users, or are you strictly with Solo? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you guys enjoyed this content and want to see more content from the RideShare Guy, make sure you guys are subscribed. And if you want to see one of the newest videos that we have posted and a more tutorial-based content, check out that video over there where we give you the entire breakdown of how to use the Lyft app in 2024. I'll be checking that video out myself because I'll be able to drive for Lyft in a couple years. I can't wait. And that's gonna be all from me guys today, so with all that said and done, stay cool.